to Expanding Your Faith, a podcast that tackles modern-day issues with a focus on spirituality, with Bishop Greer Godsey, Reverend Marc Trimm, Father Matt Schnabel, and Bishop Ben Williams. Thanks for listening. Take a breath, open your heart, and let's expand your faith together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Expanding Your Faith. I'm Bishop Greer, and joining me tonight is Reverend Marc.
Greetings, everybody.
And Bishop Ben.
Greetings and blessings to all.
So this evening, our topic is, we don't have one. We're just going to talk about whatever comes to mind and whatever floats our boat. Kind of do a light live tonight, as the last several weeks have been very in-depth and very heavy topics. Yes, so kind of lighten the mood a little bit here tonight. I thought about having Reverend Marc just do a bunch of his jokes that he does from the pulpit.
Hey, the ones, was it last week? The ones last week didn't land very well.
No, they didn't land very well. I thought they were funny, but, you know.
Definitely dad jokes.
Right. Definitely dad jokes.
But those are the good jokes.
Right.
In the pulpit.
Right. And so, kind of the same response to the dad jokes at the Christmas party.
Those were funny. I don't know why.
They were very funny.
I don't know what the... Yeah.
Right. People just for some reason they're like, it's like, okay.
No, they didn't have enough eggnog that night. You got to give them more.
They needed more eggnog. I'm always a fan of more eggnog.
Right?
Right?
So, and believe it or not, that'll be coming up before we know. No, never mind. Anyway.
Oh, good
please.
Lord.
No. We're not even done with Easter yet. Come on.
Well, they'll be taking down the Easter stuff in the next couple of days and starting putting up Halloween stuff.
Oh, my God.
That's how they do it, you know. Can't get through one holiday before they're ready to start the next one.
Right?
Well, what about you? Don't you have some preacher jokes lingering in your...
I do, but I can't say them in mixed company.
Right?
Like that one that you did. I can get that one.
Oh, dear God. That was an accident.
But that one is definitely not for polite company. But any case,
another show, entirely different show.
Right? That's for a
I'll
totally
give the last couple that I gave last week. Those actually landed pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
These are hymns for life. Hymns for life.
Yeah.
And these are hymns that you sing when you speed down the highway. Okay? If you're at 55 miles an hour, you're singing the song, God Will Take Care of You. Mm-hmm. At 75 miles an hour, you sing, Nearer My God to Thee. At 85, This World Is Not My Home.
Right.
At 95, Lord, I'm Coming Home.
Right.
And if you're driving 100 miles an hour, your hymn is Precious Memories.
Indeed.
Okay, Bishop Ben didn't laugh. You did a courtesy laugh. I guess they were just as bad the second time around.
I like that. I was actually somebody's comment on TikTok. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
No, that was a good joke. I was expecting you to say, you just take the wheel.
Jesus take the wheel? Yeah.
Yeah, that's rather than to say.
That's the one if you're driving fast on ice, that's what you do.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Jesus take the wheel.
That or Precious Memories.
Precious Memories.
I don't know how thick the ice is.
Right? We just had that experience a few weeks back.
You can use that one on ice, but you use that one here in Houston, everyday traffic in Houston.
Right? Absolutely.
When you get on the road here in Houston, you gotta say a prayer, a tune in a bucket, and a prayer at the same time.
I get that. All right, let's see. I'm gonna pull up couple of Catholic jokes for y'all.
Oh, my Lord.
Ooh-wee.
Goodness.
Let's see.
For care and concerns, right? Blank, blank, blank.
I don't know. Oh, well, here you go. How do you make holy water? You boil the hell out of it.
Yep.
What do you call a sleepwalking nun?
Oh my God.
A roaming Catholic.
Damn, that's a good one.
The three wise men. We'll give him gold and frankincense, but wait, there's myrrh.
God.
Oh my God.
The religious order who decided to change the material of their clothing from solid green to cotton found out their old uniform was a hard habit to break.
Damn.
All right. What do you call here's my one Catholic joke. What do you call a priest who becomes a lawyer? A father-in-law.
Damn.
Why didn't Pharaoh let the Hebrews go? He was in denial.
Damn. I like that one. That's funny.
What's a Christian's favorite shot? Holy water.
There you go.
It's bad.
How many Christians does it take to change a light bulb? We don't know. They're all still standing in a circle praying for the light to come back on.
Accurate?
Oh, wait, shouldn't that be a Pentecostal joke?
Hey!
Hey, now. Here's you a good Catholic nun joke. Cop pulls over a carload of nuns. Cop says, "Sister, this is a 55-mile-per-hour highway. Why are you going so slow?" Sister replies, "Sir, I saw a lot of signs that say 41, not 55. The cop answers, "Oh, sister, that's the speed limit." "That's not the speed limit. That's the name of the highway you're on." Sister says, "Oh, silly me. Thank you for letting me know. I'll be more careful." At that point, the cop looks in the back seat at the other nuns who were shaking and trembling. The cop asks, "Excuse me, sister, what's wrong with your friends back there? They're shaking something terrible." Sister answers, "We just got off of Highway 101.
Yeah, that's one of my
Damn.
favorites. Let's see here.
Oh my God.
See, I don't keep a running list of them. I just embed them into the sermon notes, and so I have to.
And then after that, they're done, over and done with, right?
Yeah, I do repeat some of them because they're so funny.
They're a good hit.
Here you go. This is a really deep inside joke, okay? One day, a local pastor was visiting the homeless and parishioners who had a teenage son. The parents were worried about what career their son was going to choose, so the pastor had a simple test that could predict what would become of him. He would put out 3 objects on the table and let the young man choose whichever one he wanted to have: a Bible, a wallet, and a bottle of scotch. If the boy chooses the Bible, he'd probably become a priest. If he chooses the wallet, he'd be a banker. If he chooses the bottle, he'd be a worthless bum. So parents called their son into the room, and the pastor told him he could have whatever object he wished. When the boy promptly picked up all 3, the pastor cried out, "Heaven forbid he's going to be a Jesuit."
Yeah, that's true.
Here's one I've told before. It's pretty funny. A little boy was waiting for his mother to come out of the grocery store, and as he waited, a man approached him and asked, "Son, can you tell me where the post office is?" The little boy replied, "Sure. Just go straight down the street for a couple of blocks and turn right." The man thanked the boy kindly and said, "I'm the new pastor in town, and I'd like for you to come to church on Sunday. I'll show you how to get to heaven if you do." The little boy replied with a chuckle, "Ah, come on, man. You don't even know how to get to the post office."
Right.
Oh boy.
That's pretty good.
So, here you go. A man walked up to a friend. I have to caveat this first. A novena is a series of prayers done over 9 days. A man walked up to a Franciscan and a Jesuit and asked, "How many novenas must you say to get a Mercedes Benz?" The Franciscan says, "What's a Mercedes Benz?" The Jesuit asks, "What's a novena?"
Damn.
Too bad.
Oh, my goodness.
Just ask Joel, see what Mercedes Benz is. He can tell you what it is.
That's right.
I've never seen one, but he has.
Well, I've seen a few when they try to hit me on the road here.
Right?
I've only ever driven one.
Now here's the key question. Have you almost been run over by a Rolls Royce?
No.
I have. Downtown Houston.
This is a bad one. This is a bad joke.
But you're going to tell it.
I'm going to tell it.
Right.
Scene: New York City, man is about to jump off a building. Up rushes the good Irish cop. Cop yells at the man, "Don't jump. Think of your father." The man replies, "I haven't got a father. I'm going to jump." The cop goes through a list of relatives: mother, brother, sister, etc. Each time the man says, "Haven't got one. Gonna jump." Desperate, the cop yells up, "Don't jump. Think of the Blessed Virgin." Man replies, "Who's that?" Cop yells, "Jump, Protestant. You're blocking traffic."
Oh, good Lord.
Woo. Man.
Here's one. A Sunday school class was studying the Ten Commandments. They were ready to discuss the very last one. The teacher asked them if they could tell her what it was.
Mhm.
Sure, raised little Susie's hand, or as she raised her little hand. She stood up tall and then quoted, "Thou shalt not take the covers off thy neighbor's wife."
Well, yeah, that could get you in trouble.
Well, yeah. Yep.
This one's a little long, but it's a pair of Irish ditch diggers were repairing some road damage directly across the street from a house of prostitution. They witnessed a Protestant minister lurking around, then duck into the house. "Would you look at that, Darby?" said Pat. "What a shameful disgrace! These Protestant reverends sinning in the house of the likes of that place." And both shook their heads and continued working. A short time later, they watched a rabbi, looked around cautiously, then darted into the house. When he was satisfied no one was looking, "Did you see that, Darby?" Pat asked in shock and disbelief. "There's nothing holy to these Jewish rabbis. I just can't understand what the world's coming to these days. A man of the cloth indulging himself in sins of the flesh. 'Tis a shame, I tell ye." Not much later, a third man, a Catholic priest, was seen lurking around the house, looking to see if anyone was watching, then quietly sneaked in. "Oh, no, Darby, look," said Pat, removing his cap and crossing himself. "One of the poor girls must have died."
Lord, I'm ready.
Sure.
A mom heard her young son kneel praying in the room before he went to bed. She stood at the door, listening to him as he said, "Dear God, please take care of Mommy and Daddy and sister and my brother, also the doggy and the kitty cat and me. Oh, and don't forget, please take care of yourself, oh God. If anything happens to you, we're in big trouble."
There you go. Yep. 98-year-old Mother Superior from Ireland was dying. The nuns gathered around her bed, trying to make her last journey comfortable. They gave her some warm milk to drink, but she refused. Then one of the nuns took the glass back to the kitchen, remembering a bottle of Irish whiskey received as a gift the previous Christmas. She opened and poured a generous amount into the warm milk. Back at Mother Superior's bed, she held the glass to her lips. Mother drank a little and then a little more. Before they knew it, she had drunk the whole glass down to the last drop. Mother, the nuns asked with earnest, please give us some wisdom before you die. She raised herself up in the bed with a pious look on her face and said, don't sell that cow.
For those watching, what is a Mother Superior?
She's the head of a convent, a religious order of women.
Was she always the oldest?
Yep.
Not always.
Usually.
I mean, it kind of depends. So it's usually the one who's been a nun the longest.
Right.
So you could have older women in there who joined the convent late in life. They're not necessarily Mother Superior, but typically they are in like the top 10% of old nuns.
Right.
Do they
There's
just,
the one that's here in Galveston. She's in her late 80s. Yeah.
do they typically, what all are their duties outside of?
So they typically oversee the administrative work of running the convent. They also oversee the other nuns who are in charge of things like discipline and training, and because they'll have other nuns that are in charge of different areas of convent life. And so they kind of oversee and make sure that they're doing their jobs. And, they make sure that they have all the supplies that they need in the convent.
Right. It's like Sister Bernadette and Sister Monica here in Houston, in Galveston.
Right.
They take care of the kitchen. Then there's Sister Bernice. She takes care of the ground. She's like the groundskeeper. So they all got different duties.
And Mother Superior also is kind of the liaison between the convent and either the diocesan bishop or the order's national office or regional office. And so yeah, she has a lot of different roles.
That's a lot of hats there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mother Superior is a busy job.
I wouldn't want it.
And so I don't know why they pick older nuns for that. I mean, experience is one of the reasons, but it's a lot to do when you're 90 years old. I mean,
I'm guessing it'd be a short-term position.
right?
The one question I have is, do they carry a ruler?
It depends on what they do.
The one here in Galveston does. She carries the yardstick.
If they used to teach in Catholic schools, yes, they still carry a ruler somewhere in that habit.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think they have a special pocket that the ruler fits down.
They got that
I believe
elongated pocket on the left side.
I
You
can
whipping
believe
it out
that.
like Star Wars, the lightsaber.
Right?
Mother Superiors pulling out their lightsabers.
Yeah, be like, where did that come from?
Yeah, you would. That
I seen Mother Superior come out of her office here in Galveston,
Mhm.
and she has these. She's in charge of the school that's there attached to the convent. Whip these young boys into shape. I mean, literally whip them into shape with that ruler. Like, dang.
Well, I'll tell you this. Our habits have very deep pockets
Yep, mine
and
does.
lots of hidden pockets.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like Mary Poppins' bag.
Stuff
You
just keeps
start
coming.
reaching in and pulling stuff out. It's just like,
Yeah, I mean, I think I always find it interesting. The different denominations and the garbs that they expect their people to wear, and I don't. I was raised completely different. We didn't. I wasn't trained to wear various.
Ecclesial wear.
Yeah, and more just suits and ties and stuff like
Right.
that. But since coming to MCC and taking over the pastoral duties, it's much. I like it better because every Sunday I just basically wear the same shirt. I don't have to remember, oh, what tie did I wear last week? What suit did I wear the week before? It's basically the same thing. So
it's helpful, I tell you what.
yeah, it's like, okay, one less thing to have to worry about.
Right?
But well, at least you didn't have to learn all the altar linens and the vestments and all the other stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah, the vestments probably would. I mean, once you learn it, it's one thing, but
Right.
keeping up with the seasonal changes used to be an issue for me, but that's not an issue anymore because, I mean, while I learned about it, it wasn't something that was put into practice that often, well, ever in my upbringing.
Now, question: does every MCC observe the same thing you do with the altar linens and changing the colors, or is every church independent?
No, most all MCC churches honor the lectionary and the calendar. Every MCC church is, I wouldn't, required would be too strong a word, but we
Suggested? Basically?
strongly suggested because every MCC church is strongly encouraged to observe communion in every service. And
Okay.
the main reason for that is we had so many people, particularly, well, just about, up till just recently, but we used to have so many people that were denied communion in other, other faiths and other denominations. And so we wanted, the history of the church is we want to make sure people understand that they are welcome but not just welcome in the building, but welcome at the table of God.
Right.
And
Correct.
so we try to drive that home as often as possible. Today we had a wedding in the church and we didn't observe communion, but that was a choice for the couple versus it's not an official MCC service. So, but all of our MCC services, we have communion on purpose. And it's definitely something that I wasn't raised in. We only had communion once a quarter, maybe twice a year, possible. However, I think the practice of communion every service is vital. I think the practice of communion every service is helps people heal, because we've had many people that have come to our church that have been, quote unquote, out of church for years, decades. And maybe not the first service, but maybe the second, third service, they actually come to communion because they were beat over the head that they weren't worthy to receive communion. And that was the first time that they had received communion in years.
Right.
Wow.
So that's why we practice every service. And as far as I know, every MCC church honors the calendar and the lectionary. I personally choose sometimes to deviate from the lectionary if I feel like I did last week. If I feel that I need to strongly that I need to bring something to the church. My personal opinion is we shouldn't be so beholden to it if we feel the leading of the Spirit to speak on something in particular.
Right.
Although I think in general practice, the lectionary is a very nice thing and a beautiful thing to have a part of our faith, because there be some Sundays I'm like, God, I don't know what to talk about.
Right.
Lectionary helps you narrow that sucker down. So, but we keep it, but it's not, the church doesn't close down if I choose a different.
To change. Now, the other question for you people that don't know the MCC very well, unlike us, you all don't have bishops to answer to, right?
No, and that's kind of a weakness in the denomination. We have elders,
Mm-hmm.
but we used to have, back when I was interim in 2017 for several months, um, we used to have what we call listening elders, and they were assigned to so many churches, and they were available to the pastors, and they called the pastors or emailed the pastors on the regular.
Right.
There's been such a shift in the denomination, restructuring over the last many years, that all of those elders kind of went away. They're trying to put that back now. I spoke with one of our elders a week ago, and but no, we don't have bishops. We don't have we have the elders, but we don't have overseers or anything like that, because
Right.
each church is viewed as, although we're a part of the denomination, we're basically independent. We can make our own rules.
Right.
The denomination doesn't assign a pastor to us like in some denominations. We can choose pastors from within the denomination or from outside, as long as they, line up with our statements of faith and such.
So do you all ordain within the church, or do you all have a committee you all have to go through to get ordained?
It is a process. We do have ordination within MCC. You have to have a Master's of Divinity. That's the first thing that they look for. And then, there is an ordination process. It's quite extensive. And it's a lot. But that's also been changing of late. But there is a process, but they do recognize outside clergy. So outside clergy can come into the denomination and minister, and they recognize them. They put different names to it and everything. So,
Out of curiosity, in your walk from where you started as a Pentecostal in other churches, how long did it take you to get from where you were in the beginning to becoming MCC pastor?
oh wow. So I started at MCC, Metropolitan Community Church. There was somebody asking about that. I started in 2013. I was brought on as minister of music, choir director for the church. I remained in that capacity until one of our pastors suddenly left. MCC resigned and left the church. And it happened so quickly that we didn't have anybody to come in to fill the pulpit.
Right.
We didn't have enough coverage and pulpit supply. So the board asked me, we haven't had time to formulate a search committee because he resigned within a month and a half of him leaving. And so they said, would you be the interim until we can form the search committee, interview candidates, and get somebody in here?
Right.
So from June of 2017 to January of 18, I stepped in and was interim while they, looked for somebody. And at the time, I prayed about it. I didn't feel pushed in that direction to submit my name as a candidate. And so 2018, they hired a pastor, brought her in. She didn't connect well with the church. And so the board, after a year, the board and her decided that it was best to part ways.
Right.
And then the board called me and asked me to just become the pastor and take back over. and lead the church. And that was in 2019, January. And so till today, I was raised in the Pentecostal church, you know, and then went to some charismatic churches. I took over the pastorate of a church when I was 22, and then went to seminary. I did it backwards. And so while I was pastoring, I was also studying and earning my degree, and that was fun. So 6.5 years pastoring and such, and then I stepped away, resigned, left the church with my bishop and the denomination I was part of, and helped some smaller churches, and then took a break for a little bit to do my own healing, because there was some traumatic stuff that happened there, and so and then connected back to churches when MCC approached me.
So it's been a long journey, but good for you.
It has. And there was a lot of deconstructing going on even while I was pastoring my first church. I was pulling away from a lot of that stuff I was exposed to as far as theology and doctrine. And I really, I think we all go through that. Especially if we've been raised in church, we have to come to the place to where we're not believing, stuff based on what our parents or whoever taught us.
Right. I remember when I started seminary school, I had to learn to deconstruct from the Baptist stuff and having to reconstruct everything that I had to learn in seminary school.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I threw away so many books and things that I just didn't subscribe to and felt was just terrible theology anymore. A lot of my curriculum that I studied, a lot of it was good. Thankfully, a lot of it was just basic historical stuff. Thank God we didn't get into deep stuff. Right. Because some of that deep stuff was is mess. But prosperity gospel.
That makes sense.
Only the few will inherit the kingdom type of a mindset, where God's only here for a few people. The Pentecostal church is the only church. All that type of garbage.
So I do have a question for both you two. So when you both met, and this is for people that don't know you and may not understand the story of how you all met, was it a match in heaven when you first met, or was there contention?
It's kind of like two cats circling with their fur going.
No.
It was a PRC meeting,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Or service.
We met through the Progressive Religious Coalition of Augusta, and through my work there as secretary, it was my job to put together the MLK service every year. And so right after Reverend Marc became pastor there, he actually became pastor right before the first service I had planned, and so I was not aware there had been a change in leadership at MCC. So we asked the previous minister, who didn't bother to let us know there had been a change in leadership, to come and do the service with us. And then I found out later that there had been a change in leadership, and so by that time, I think you had been called to be pastor there.
Yeah.
Because that was right on the heels of the in between pastor leaving. And she left, and so I invited him to come and speak at the next MLK service.
Was that
That's where
Barber?
we met.
I think the first one I remember participating in was Reverend Barber.
Yeah, that was the one. That was the Reverend Barber at St. Paul's. Yeah. Because he's been there twice. He came twice to Augusta for our MLK service.
Wow.
And the first time was at Tabernacle Baptist. There's a long story there about their connection to Martin Luther King Jr. And then the second time he came, he was at St. Paul's, which is another long story because it was the home of the Southern Episcopal Church during the Civil War.
Wow. So there's a long history with that.
Yeah.
There's
with that
some
story.
long history
Talk
there.
about
Wow.
Kind of a full circle thing.
right, full circle.
So.
Yeah, that was the first time. I think that's the first time I met y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You were busy with the service, so I kind of hit it off a little more with Father Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And then I participated in a couple of, I think, some of the Zoom calls over COVID.
Right.
And just, listening in because I was still trying to. When I took over in 19, the church had suffered a lot of departures. So my focus was just bringing healing to the church, stability to the church.
Right.
Um,
Trying to rebuild.
just steady, just a steady, good rhythm type of a thing. So while I participated in the PRC, I didn't get too involved. And then, of course, COVID hit.
Right.
And then we went all to Zoom for almost a year. We were doing nothing but Zoom meetings.
Yep.
So we got to know each other a little better through that. And then I think you invited us to come and participate in the World AIDS Day service.
Yeah,
Kind of where
I
we
think so.
first really kind of hit off from there. And so
I think it's pretty interesting
Yeah.
for people like people that are outside our group that don't know you all very well. I think it's interesting on how you all met and how you all connected, which is a
Cigars.
match made in heaven, which is pretty cool.
yeah, when we both figured out that we both like cigars, that was it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss our banter back and forth on the front porch days where we would talk theology and intersection of politics and stuff like that, and it was interesting because like I said, I studied various traditions and things that they believed, but Lord, that was a long time ago. So it was nice to get reacquainted with some, a little bit more traditional flow of things in the old Catholic Church. And of course, Father Matt would rattle off
Oh God.
all kinds of stuff, and Bishop's pretty good with church history. So
He's a virtual encyclopedia. Father Matt is.
Yeah, he's like the gold standard of theology encyclopedias.
Right.
yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, I wish I could retain a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff I do retain, but there, some of those things I wish I kept better. But
So I have a question for everybody because I had to do this today. Can anybody tell me what you do with altar linens once they have reached the end of their life? You can't answer, Bishop Ben.
Oh, darn.
Oh, wow.
What do you do with altar linens when they are too dirty to clean up anymore, or too stained, or becoming frayed? What do you do with them?
don't look at me. I was not. Listen, I was not raised with altar linens and stuff of that nature. And none of we've got one it's about towards the end of its life. And we have one banner that I'd like to throw outside because I don't care how many times I iron that thing, steam clean it.
It just can't get the wrinkles out.
It is not coming out to save our lives. So
It's
tried
one of
everything.
It's one of those banners.
Well, it's made out of,
I think it's made out of linen,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever sewed the cross on it, the stitching's a little tight.
A little.
Yeah, it's a lot tight, and so it kind of bunches and wrinkles.
It's like trying to think of a celebrity with too many facelifts.
Right? It's
You
just
know what?
can't
That
fix
can
it.
be rectified. Turn it over and undo some of the stitching in the back.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about doing that, but if we're going to do that, then I probably be best to go back on broadcloth where it can hang better and not be as much of a trouble.
We had that issue at one of the seminary where we undid some of the stitching, and then we just starched it really, really heavily with starch.
All right. So here's the answer. Nobody's answered online.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody knows. There is only one way to get rid of altar linens when they reach the end of their life. You have to cremate them.
Right.
And that's what we call it. You have to cremate them. And so I had today about 10 or so altar linens that had reached the end of their life. And we had gotten some new ones in to replace them. And so I had to go out to the fire pit. And you have to cremate them, and then you take the ashes and you bury them.
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Here we are.
There you go.
Where's that little thing? The more you know.
The more you know. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that.
That's the fact that a lot of people don't know about the sacristy either. They don't understand why the sacristy has two sinks.
Right. So the history of that is there's a sink that's normal, like your sink in your bathroom, goes into the sewage. And then there's a separate sink that's called a sacrarium.
Yep, sacrarium.
And the sacrarium is a sink that has a pipe that goes into the ground and terminates in the ground. And when you are cleaning your linens that you've used that have touched the body and blood of Jesus, the linens that you clean out the chalice with or wipe down your paten with or whatever, you're supposed to first wash them in the sacrarium so that all of the particles go into the ground, and then you can wash them normally. But you cannot do that until you've washed them in the sacrarium.
Right.
And somewhere at MCC, there is probably a pipe that goes into the ground that used to have a sacrarium attached to it, because Lutherans use them too. So
yep, yeah, the sacristy.
There's probably one there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Because obviously, when the building was built, there was very limited plumbing.
Right.
Because it's 1887.
It would have still been there. The sacrarium would have been there.
So, I mean, it would have had to be off to if you're looking at the building from the front, it would be off to the right side.
Yeah.
But
it's probably somewhere in the choir room, because that was their sacristy at one point.
Yeah.
So looking at your church from the platform, was that platform always there? Or was that added? Because I know the Lutheran church doesn't have a choir loft like that.
It was. I think it was. I don't know. It wasn't added. I wouldn't think it was added because of the step up that you would have to, because the choir room is original to the building.
Okay.
So it was probably there, and they probably had the high altar in that arch.
Right.
So that's why the arch is there, as the high altar was in that arch.
I'm wondering if the red carpet is original or was it a different color carpet before?
Oh no, that's not original.
No, it's been replaced.
Yeah, the hardwoods are original. The pews are original.
But has the carpet always been red?
God knows. It has been since we got there.
Okay.
The chandelier is actually original. It's a converted, it's converted from gas. Yeah. So that's
I remember Bishop told me about that.
Yeah,
it's the chandelier.
Yeah. I don't know if the sides are converted or not, but I know the chandelier is.
I'm betting there were originally lights on the sides too. And there was some sort of heater or something up on the altar area because there is a gas inlet in that arch. There's a gas inlet in the arch. So there was originally a heater or something up there near the altar.
Yeah, and like the restroom in the front office that was added, and there used to be a exit door. There's still an exit door in the office, but it's sealed. We don't use that anymore.
Yeah, and the steps aren't there either anymore. Steps have
Too
been
bad that church didn't come with an old pipe organ. That would have been cool.
That's a good question, Darren. Does a second person have to be present at the cremation for verification? Not of altar linens, no. No. And so I actually burned them and buried the ashes this afternoon. And of course, Luna and Dana were out there helping me, so they can verify that I did it. But yeah.
Now, do people know how to what we do with sacred vessels that are not usable anymore?
I don't know.
You don't know that question, Bishop? The answer to that one?
Oh, I know. Go ahead.
No, I was saying about anybody else. Does anybody else know what that answer is?
Oh, I doubt it.
I didn't know the linens. We definitely know I don't know the.
Well, when I was in seminary school, they taught us that we had to decommission. We had to bend them up with a hammer.
Yeah.
You get rid of them that way.
Well, what we would do is we would deface them, smash them, and then you bury them.
Yep. Same process.
Yeah.
Only not cremating.
You can't cremate them because they're, metal vessels, but you would deface them with a hammer and then bury them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It pained me when I was in seminary school to hammer a 14 karat gold chalice. I'm like, really? We can't melt this down and use it?
Yeah, none of our we had suffer communion that was taken at one point, and so we bought our own for the church, and we've been using the same for a while.
Yep.
I don't think we have any issues.
I use mine until there's just absolutely no more life in them, period.
Right, that's how I am.
So, I don't think that I still have all of my chalices here that I've ever had in the past. I've never managed to get rid of any of them because there's still a little bit of life in them. So I use them as backups for if I ever need an extra chalice or, for like when I do a wedding somewhere that wants a wedding mass or something, I'll use those chalices to take with me versus the one that I use on Sunday. So, which I have to fix the one I use on Sunday because the cat knocked it off the table here during snowstorm and
we have
bent it.
We have 3 because we used to have a self-serve station at the church, and we did away with that after COVID. We're probably going to do away with it prior because people had a bad habit of dunking their whole hand because they would take the host, dip it in the juice, and people were just like and dropping it in there, fishing for it. It's like, oh dear God. Ooh. And so
I'm not drinking after that.
Yeah.
Nope, neither am I.
So it moved communion pretty quickly, but we did away with that at after COVID. Right after COVID, we handed out the little prepackaged cups and host, and people would just receive at their seat. But then when it became acceptable and good for people to come back to the altar. We went back to when we did away with them dipping their own host, because people would put their hands in there, dig for the host, then drop it in the juice, and then they'd start digging for that again. And of course, those hosts, once they get submerged, they dissolve so fast. And it's like, okay, we're not doing fishing. So we did away with all that, and we serve it now. So it's it slows it down, but I've had many of people that have come back to church talk about how meaningful it is that we do communion in the fashion that we do it.
Right.
Well, it's because they come in and they get fed two ways: it's in the Word, and then in the body and blood of Christ.
That's right.
So it nourishes them physically and spiritually at the same time.
So explain to folks in your tradition if a host is dropped on a floor.
That's a good question.
So there's a whole process for that, believe it or not.
Right.
First of all, the priest immediately retrieves it.
Right.
And typically the priest will then consume it themselves.
Right.
We don't give that host to anybody else. We take it ourselves. The spot is then marked. If not physically, then at least in our mind, we know where we dropped it. After Mass, we have to come and clean it by hand to get all particles up off of it. And then that linen is taken and washed in the sacrarium to get rid of all the crumbs. And so we don't just vacuum it up or, it's a very methodical process of cleaning it very carefully to make sure all particles are up. So if possible, we block it off so nobody can walk over it or
and
anything,
carry it out with their shoes.
During communion.
Yeah.
But so it's a process.
What I used to do is I used to step forward and stand over it.
Right.
Over the spot.
Right.
It's interesting because we don't have that happen as much anymore because we take the host and offer it to people. And, I usually hold it until I see them with good grip.
Yep.
But we used to have people drop on the regular when they would transfer the host either out of the one into the juice and then back and forth. So, and I could always tell my former Catholics when they would fall on the ground because everybody would take a collective sigh. And usually before I can even get to it, the person that dropped it's like whisking it up.
Right.
And so, I used to have a specific plate to place them on and put them back on the altar separate, but sometimes that doesn't get put out.
Right.
But we have so few of them dropped anymore.
So Darren wants to know, what do you do with all the old worn priestly vestments, robes, clothing, collar, etc.?
Good question.
So if it is blessed, which my clergy shirts are not blessed, my pants are not blessed, they're just, shirts and pants. But if they're blessed, like our albs are blessed, the chasubles and stoles are blessed, my habit's blessed, they too have to be cremated.
Right.
Just like a altar linen, and then the ashes buried because they've been blessed. And so you can't just throw away blessed objects in the trash. They have to be properly disposed of. And the two methods typically for that are cremation and burying the ashes, or in a situation where it can't be cremated, say a rosary that's mostly metal or plastic, then it would be buried, so that, it's given proper respect because it's a blessed object. So
there's been many times I had to fish out from old churches, rosaries, investments, because the priest is throwing them away and don't think about it.
I can't tell you the number of times I've gone by a Catholic church and found vestments hanging out of their dumpster.
Right.
And
Me
I will
too.
take them, and if they're beyond repair, I will take them and cremate them.
Yep.
If they're repairable, I repair them and use them myself.
Right.
No need to get rid of them if there's nothing really wrong with them.
Right.
And in some Roman churches, new priests will come in and they'll throw away all the old vestments and buy new ones.
Right.
There's
I've seen
nothing
that
wrong
happen.
with the old vestments.
Yep.
They just don't like the style, or they don't like to use them. They want their own special brand or whatever. And so if they're in good shape, I'll take them and either use them, or I will pass them on to other clergy who don't have a lot of money, so that they have vestments to use.
Right.
And I encourage you, if you frequently see vestments or prayer books or hymnals or things like that, they're in good shape, grab them. Let me know. I'll pay the shipping to have them shipped to me, because there are churches and people, clergy, who need supplies and can't afford them,
Right.
that we work to make sure they get those supplies. So it always comes in handy.
Yeah, we didn't
People
have.
don't realize the expense that it costs for even the MCC. There's expendables, wine, the host, the chalices,
Right.
stuff is like that. Is not very inexpensive. It's very expensive.
Right.
To
Yeah,
buy.
we're gonna have to replace at least our white altar cloth, and probably get a new white banner, because I'm just tired of fighting that other one. But
I don't blame you.
I mean, when I took over and was installed as interim and then pastor, I mean, I didn't have any. I had nothing. I had no clergy shirts. The pastor, the previous pastor, he made all his stuff, so he took all his vestments and garments with him, and there were no stoles, nothing.
Wow.
So I had to buy all my stoles. I had to buy all my, people call it my sensei outfit, my jacket that buttons from top to bottom. I'm more comfortable in that than I am in robes. It fits my tradition more. Stoles, they do get in my way sometimes. I took mine off last week.
Right,
Just,
I saw.
But
And he took his shoes off.
well, my feet were hurting, so
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. You got to be comfortable, right?
that's right. But so I had to buy all that. Bishop gave me a casset, so that
Was the altar there when you started, Reverend Mark? Was it there, or is that something you added to the church?
No, we had purchased that. We had a very small altar. The table that's in the lobby now that we moved
The marble
today,
top, yeah.
that was our altar, very small.
okay.
It is very small.
And so Reverend Rick led a campaign for us to buy that. And it was custom made for us because of the wording on the front.
Right.
And we bought that in, I want to say 2015-ish,
Wow.
16. It's a beautiful altar. It's solid. It is solid.
It is very solid.
Thank God they put wheels on it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
got wheels on it, thank God, because it's heavy. And I've pushed it from the office back down for like when we've had choir events and stuff.
Right.
We moved the altar out of the way. And it's not light. It's very heavy.
Yeah.
So,
And there's an audio connection underneath the altar, so you have to lift the altar slightly to get over that and then
Right.
set it back down. And that thing, when you do that, you remember how heavy it is.
oh yeah.
And so,
And that's only having to lift it about 3 or 4 inches because it's an XLR connector.
Right. Imagine you had to carry that thing over steps. Oh
Yeah,
my
if you had to
God.
carry that up and down stairs.
yeah, it's a little cumbersome, but it moves pretty good. And so, but But yeah, no, that's a great. Our altar's beautiful, and when you come into the building, when you open our front door and you walk in, that's the first thing you really see.
Yeah, that's the focal point.
When you look down, because our other than during service, our all our doors are open to the narthex, and so when you come in the front two doors, it's usually the first thing you see is the all are welcome.
It's a very beautiful altar.
I like the way it is. I like the way everything you have in the church. I like the way it's just set up. It's a very beautiful and sacred and reverent sanctuary.
The only thing I would do differently is the altar would be about 6 inches taller.
Me
course,
too.
of
Yeah, I
course,
was gonna say, yeah, me too.
And that's just because of my spine, bending over sometimes on the,
Yeah.
is a little difficult, but no, it's beautiful. And having that all are welcome on it is just wonderful. It's so inviting.
Yes.
And so,
But I like the touch you all added to it, with actually adding the flag to it underneath, which
right.
reminds us of where we are and who we're serving within the community.
Yeah, the funny thing with that, I had bought that last year for Pride season as instead of because we're in ordinary time during that season,
Right.
so I changed that out, and it just fits the surface of the altar.
It does perfectly.
And so Bishop had the idea of just tacking it onto the underneath of the altar after Pride season, and we left it. And
I like it like that.
Yeah,
It's good.
I think
Everybody loves it. In fact, when we take it down sometimes, like Christmas, they're like, "Where did the flag go?"
yeah.
Right?
So I'm gonna try to find a runner to put there, but for Pride Month, now that we have that on the altar, and then I put rainbow or pride candles on the altar, we could just leave the green.
Right.
But we do green is all so much.
Oh God, I know. And I'm not a big fan of green, even though I have green shirts. I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of green, and so I don't like it all the time.
And sadly, that's the banner that is perfect when it hangs.
I know it hangs so beautifully.
It hangs perfect.
It's crazy.
Is the green, but during Advent we have our Christmas tree, so we don't hang a banner in the arch. And what I think I'm going to do is where in our lobby where we have that banner that says 25 years, which is way old, I'm going to put the banner during Advent there for the purple. But that banner actually has, which I don't understand why we had it, but it actually has the years, the first year that we started, and then it has an addition you can add to it of whatever the current year is, and you can just change that out. Why it was purple, I don't know why they made it purple, because our anniversary is during November, and
It's ordinary time, typically.
right, and traditionally, if you're doing an anniversary, it's what, red or white?
It's white.
And so, which I can understand why they didn't try to add anything to our white banner, because it's just a mess. It's just
Well, and likely what they did was they thought they probably were trying to match the logo color, which is kind of a darker blue, and they ended up with purple.
Right.
we do have a blue in the back banner that has a rainbow to it, but I don't ever put it out because you can do blue, but it's a royal blue during Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, Advent, you can use what's either called serum blue or the purple.
Yeah,
We do blue typically.
baby blue.
And so serum blue is more of a royal blue. It's that color that you're wearing right now. And so we typically do blue during Advent, but that's just us. But I did notice, I think you all have a blue banner.
We do, but it's a baby blue.
Yeah, it's a light blue. But
And
it's,
I don't.
it's a blue banner.
Blue doesn't shout to me Christmas, but neither does purple. But that's why. But I stay with purple only because it tends to go a little bit better with what we do as far as our decor during Christmas. But we do have and then we have a World AIDS Day banner in the back as well. But again, it's during Christmas and the tree's up, so we don't hang it.
Right.
And it's so long, I wouldn't want to hang it on the altar.
Right.
Or drape the altar. So
we typically just use a red runner on the altar for World AIDS Day.
yeah.
So I'm keeping my eyes open for a good banner.
Yeah, I haven't looked, but I'm going to replace we need a red one. The only red one we have is for Pentecost.
Yeah.
And it has the dove. And we need a red runner on the table because all we have is one you can flip upside down, but
Well, folks, we've run a little over, which I wanted to do in case I need to cut anything there. I might cut some of my jokes.
Some of my jokes.
Some of my inappropriate jokes at the beginning. But this has been a great podcast. A good light topic for us tonight. I appreciate everybody joining us online. And, of course, Reverend Mark and Bishop Ben for being a part of this tonight.
Thank you for hosting us.
Next week, we'll dive back into another exciting topic. I don't know what yet, but we'll figure it out between now and then. Hopefully, I'll figure it out by Monday, but we'll see.
We'll speak to our executive producers.
We'll get our executive producer, Casper and Jasper and Francis, to, let us know what we're going to do. But,
right.
But until then, we hope you'll join us again next week when we once again attempt to expand your faith. God bless.
Thanks for spending this time with us on Expanding Your Faith. If today's conversation encouraged you, share the episode. It helps more people find the show. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also find us online at pod.myocci.social and ourstfrancis.org. Follow us on Facebook at Expanding Your Faith. Our producer is Bishop Ben Williams. Expanding Your Faith is an outreach ministry of St. Francis Parish and Outreach in Augusta, Georgia, produced in cooperation with the Metropolitan Community Church of Our Redeemer in Augusta, Georgia. Until next time, keep expanding your faith.